on your outline. There's a relevant application to all that. Sound theology and doctrine, they're truly important, but so is a willing touch. And we can touch people in many ways. We can acknowledge them. Sunday morning we have visitors. We like to visit with one another. When there's visitors, take time to visit with them, to acknowledge them, to shake their hand. You don't know what their condition is. You don't know how long maybe it's been since they've been touched. I remember one day I shared my lunch with a drunk. He wanted money, and I wasn't going to give him any money. He stunk bad. He had voided himself many a times. And went outside, and I told him, I'm not going to give you money because you'll just go drink. But I had my lunch down in the refrigerator, or my supper at that time. And I went and got it. Just happened to have a couple pieces of pizza in there. And gave him a piece of pizza, warmed it up. And we sat out there and bought him a pop. And I ate pizza with this stinky fella. And I thought, man, Lord, I've been blessed. Been blessed. Was he blessed? I hope so. But you know what? It wasn't my responsibility to know if he was or not. It was to do and to leave the results to God. We can touch people. We can show them that we're pleased that they've come on Sunday morning. We can be willing to take the hand of those we would help and lift them up and embrace them. Take time for them. Those are some of the things that we can do that are easy. You know, we'll never affect others for Christ if we don't identify with them, if we don't contact them. And sometimes a touch, caring involvement will do 1,000 times more than our theology. Sometimes 1,000 times more than our money. Sometimes the greater need is to be touched. To have somebody say, I care for you. And sometimes I have to care enough not to do this, but I still care for you. I still pray for you. I desire for you to have your life turned around. I can hear my grandmother praying that for me as a kid. I can hear her. And I can hear her saying, oh, Sonny boy, man, I was a nasty little critter. And I would hear her praying for me. She'd be in her bedroom, took my bedroom, by the way. Didn't like it at all. And she'd be back there, and I'd hear her saying, oh, God, would you be with Sonny boy? That'd be me. Would you help him? He got a bad attitude. I had a lot of problems. But my grandmother faithfully prayed. And it took 20 years for me to come to the Lord. I'll never forget coming to the Lord and saying, man, Grandma, I made it. And I made it on your prayers. Made it on your prayers. Because I don't know if anybody else ever prayed for me, except maybe a few Christians maybe along the way. 3 on your outline, the leper's cure, verses 42 through 44. Here comes the miracle. I love the way Mark describes things. Mark had a favorite word. You know what that word is? Immediately. Immediately. In verse 42, he writes, immediately Jesus touches this guy, and immediately the leprosy left him, and he was cured. The healing was sudden, like that, and it was complete. And I want you to think about that. We go back to Luke 5:12, and it says that he was full of leprosy, and that means he was completely covered in leprosy. And we've looked at some pictures of leper. I had one on last week. Just Google it today, and you'll get a picture of what it was like. And so here, think about this. As the extremities are the most likely place that mice and rats and that would nibble upon, he probably was missing some toes and some fingers. And now, where there was ulcerated stubs, there were fingers. Picture this. See, we don't picture this. We don't get the picture of what happened here. All of a sudden, this guy had fingers, digits, man. His toes were there. And then their hair falls out, and suddenly this guy, man, touch me, Lord. Suddenly this guy's got a full head of hair. He's got eyebrows, eyelashes. He's got ears. He maybe has a nose. I've seen some pictures of lepers because they've put scalding water on where their nose is almost gone. And this is 2,000 years ago. They didn't have any medical care. And his skin, all crusty and dry. You ever have real dry skin? Boy, I think of a person that had real dry hands. They were dry. They were hard to hold. But when you touched his hand, he liked it, didn't he, Peg? He liked it. Imagine this guy's hand suddenly soft, supple, warm, blood flowing through him once again. Think about that. And now imagine the crowd. Imagine these people sitting out there and suddenly, boom, boom, man, like popping. Man, I mean, I don't know if it popped or just, suddenly there's fingers. Man, but I like it popping, So, pop, 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 pop. There goes an ear. There's a nose. And all of a sudden this guy's got, everything is functioning. It's there. And it wasn't there a second ago. Can you imagine the shock? Can you imagine how them people thundered? Man, we go to a football game and they, wow, look at Kellen Moore threw that pass. We're jumping up and down and we make all kinds of noise. Do we make a noise when Jesus does a great mighty thing in our midst? Are we hopping around saying, whoa, Kathy, you see what Jesus did? No. He answered my prayer this week. He touched Rick. What happened to our excitement what the Lord's doing? I see these people, man, I see them hopping and jumping around, man. Talk about whoop of glories. They don't even know who to whoop of glory. They're just, whoa! And they're thunderstruck by what took place. Now listen. Listen. It quiets down for a moment. And what do you hear? I know what you don't hear. You know what you don't hear? Unclean, unclean. Now you hear, I'm clean, man, I am clean. Whoa, man, can you imagine this guy? He is clean. He has been touched. And he's happy. He's overwhelmed. Has Jesus touched you lately? Have you been overwhelmed by his love? Overwhelmed by his presence in your life? Overwhelmed that he wants to spend time with you? That he'd be more than happy to spend the next hour and a half with you versus the 5 minutes we take maybe in the morning to read, or the prayer now I lay me down to sleep, maybe that's all you know. And he just wants to talk to you. Jesus wants to hang out with you. Nobody hung out with this leper but other lepers. And nobody hung out with them. No doctor ever went to minister to them. And this is what Jesus can do for you right now. He can touch you in your greatest hurt. He can touch you in your greatest need. And he can touch all those that we know. And he says, just believe. And pray. If the person's not turning, don't give up. Pray. And it's hard to pray for conviction. It's hard to pray, Lord, whatever it takes to get their attention. I pray that for a lot of people and always pray, Lord, spare their children. Man, I get real specific about this kind of prayer. Lord, spare their children, spare their mate. Oh, Lord, but whatever else it's going to take. Oh, Lord, I don't mean to set limitations on you. I just don't want to see others hurt because of their condition. I pray it this way. But, Lord, whatever it's going to take to get their attention, whatever it will take to turn their heart to you, Lord, that's what I want to see you do. And in a moment, this guy is clean. And if you realize that the leprosy of sin has infected your person, then you have no doubt that you're a sinner. And that's what leprosy is a picture of here. It's the parable of sin. And if you believe that, then there's no reason why you shouldn't go to Jesus immediately. He has compassion. He feels for you. He gave his life for you. How much more will he actually touch? He's already taken all your sin. He's already taken it. He'll touch it. He's not afraid to extract it. He wasn't afraid to pay the price for your sin. I can't tell you, I can't imagine. It's hard to grab hold of that amount of love, that he would knowingly take all that on. And knowing that, will you humble yourself before him? Are you struggling with pride? Struggling with lust, anger, shame, guilt, feelings of revenge, sin? Are you struggling with that? Then come humbly before him. Come. Throw yourself before him. You don't even have to say, Lord, if you're willing. You already know he's willing. All you have to do is say, Lord, please clean me. Lord, please strengthen me. Please give me hope where the hopelessness is gone. Lord, please touch me. I love the first slide that was up there. Jesus and the physicians operating on that person, and Jesus there. Put that last slide up, Bill. And now the Master longs to touch your heart, his heart to your heart. Can you imagine? No matter what condition, how angry you might be, how disappointed you might be, how afraid you might be, the worst sin that we might have committed, the Master wants to touch your heart. I have been moved these past 2 weeks as I have been studying this 5 verses. It's not even a lot. I have been moved by it. I've been moved to tears. I've been moved to pain as I've thought about other people. As I've looked at myself, I've been disappointed. Because sometimes I don't want to get out and reach out and touch. Sometimes I've felt offended. And it's like, oh, Lord, what if I get? Worst thing we'll probably get today is somebody's cold. And Kathy gave George her cold. No. Yeah, I know that. But that's, think about that. Isn't that about one of the worst things we might get right here, right now? Is a cold. And we're so afraid. Let's pray. And let's ask the Lord to move us beyond fear. Move us beyond doubt. I think probably some of our greatest sins is fear and doubt. Lord, move me beyond the doubt. Move me beyond the doubt that you can't, because you can. Give me this leper's heart that says, if you're willing, and Lord, give me even better than that because you showed me you're willing. Lord, give me the strength of heart to say, Lord, will you do this now? I need it now, Lord. Please cleanse me. Oh, Lord, I have another one standing in the need of love, standing in the need for your touch. Let's take a couple of minutes and pray. Yeah, you can pray up here. You don't just come pray for anybody. You can be praying for yourself, but get humble before the Lord. John will play to kind of distract your minds and from worrying about what people are thinking and doing. And John sacrifices sometimes prayer time coming up. But he multitasks like I do. So he'll play and can pray. Oh, let's not miss this opportunity to be touched by the Master's hand.